Hey Libra, it's Kendrick from Providence Tarot. Wow, Ace of Cups, okay. Let's see what's going on with you for the end of February proofread, you know. Sun, Moon, or Rising. You know, I am a double Libra, right? So you're detaching from something. You're creating boundaries for yourself that are very much needed, you know, from the influence of other people, right? Okay? You're realizing something that can't be denied. Okay. All right. Okay. Like I said, you're realizing something that can't be denied. Right. Five of Swords. This is talking about challenges or confirmations of why things are challenging. Because this is asking us a lot of questions. You know what I mean? Do I really identify with this connection? Do I really identify with this relationship? Do I really identify with this friendship in the same way? Do I really identify with this family member in the same way? You know what I mean? With the Five of Swords being here. And this is also talking about feelings of intimidation, right? So there's an intimidation factor here. And it's, you know, it's almost kind of like, well, why'd you do that? Or why'd you say that? Or I wasn't bothering you, so don't bother me. You know, like that type of thing. And it's also kind of like people should definitely understand how to use their words, right? And this has to do with like a lack of maturity on one end, you know, or maybe there's like misunderstanding as well, right? For sure, definitely a misunderstanding. Somebody doesn't necessarily know what they think they know, you know what I mean? And they could be coming from this place of like, you know, just being a little bit cynical about things, and that is what is screwing up the vibe, right? Because this does talk about cynical people that we know, that we're close to, that affect us in negative ways because it creates challenges in our relationships and definitely in our heads too. They knock us off of our focus. So this is also talking about boundaries with the swords. So be mindful of that, right? Don't get knocked off of your focus at all, right? The moon here, yeah, stay on your path, right? This is kind of like realizing that there are some emotional boundaries that you have to put up with people, even if they are close to you. You know what I mean? Or even if you can't avoid them, right? Because the Five of Swords are things that we definitely can't avoid and we can't ignore any longer, right? Okay? And the moon card is talking about acknowledging something, right? That needs to be seen and needs to be illuminated because it has to do with healing. We've got to put something behind us as well. You know, sometimes we realize that some people are just the ways that they are and they don't want to change. You know what I mean? Or it'll be very difficult and challenging for them to change. There's the conflict. You know, someone doesn't want to change, right? And then the moon is here, which comes before that. This could be related to the mother. It could also be related to like, I don't know, the gentleman in your life or women out there or anybody who has a masculine partner who kind of like exhibits those qualities. Even though this is the moon, it is related to the 9th house of Sagittarius, which is, you know, Jupiter that rules that house is exalted in the moon. So this is, or in Cancer. So this is talking about, you know, going the extra mile to take good care of, you know, how you see yourself even after you've gone through experiences that have left you feeling hung out to dry, wet, damp, you know, uncomfortable, right? Because there are some things that you are feeling that are really just raising your awareness to what you already knew anyway. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like being sensitive to the emotional needs of other people, okay, with the moon being here. And sometimes this is very much empathic, right? So sometimes we know why people are acting, behaving, speaking this way, right? We know what it is, but it's like we can't really speak on it because it would just be too much. It's also very much nonverbal as well. You're taking the nonverbal cues from some things. We're talking about cycles. We're talking about growth patterns as well. You know, with the 9, with this being here. Someone's afraid to face, you know, their own vulnerabilities, you know. Someone's afraid to face, like, how they are, you know, truly feel. Okay? And the moon card is also like, being a little bit like emotionally drained, right? Emotional exhaustion. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this conflict and all of this stuff. So you know what? I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to rebalance my chakras. I'm going to be in my element. I am going to find power in my individual source of creative energy. I am going to find spiritual balance. I am going to be authentically who I am. You know what I mean? I am going to, you know, cleanse my spirit and my energy of the things that might be attached to me that I do not control, nor do I want to, you know. This is realizing that I actually only control myself, you know. This is also perspective, what you've learned from your relationships, right? And how they've changed you in very powerful ways. This is like never being the same, you know? Right? And I love that because that is like, I don't know, your philosophy of life has kind of like changed you now. You just see things differently, right? There's definitely been some failed relationships with people who have maybe had some issues with themselves, you know, or maybe you had some issues with yourself and them too, right? These are the difficult issues that we face in terms of like facing our fears of ourself, self-sacrifice or self-sabotaging things, self-sacrificing things, you know what I mean? We've realized how we've sacrificed ourselves and we realize how we've sabotaged ourselves as well. You know, this is related to the 4th house of the mother and also foundations. And also it's related to Aries, right? The Emperor, the 1st house too, you know? And that's talking about, you know, force, attitude, fire, you know, just too much energy, right? And it's someone's attitude, right? It's the ego, okay? And the expression of the ego that is causing the relationship to fail. But the expression of the ego is out of a fear, right? Of abandonment, right? And being alone or being lonely, right? That's where that attitude is coming from this person, and that is where, you know, that, you know, just that negative energy would be coming from, the overbearing energy, right? It's coming from a place of you know, fear of abandonment, or, you know, wanting to try to put on this front, perhaps. But the Lord is, you know, saying you're in charge. You know, remember that. You are in charge of your destiny, right? And the 7 of Pentacles talks about false starts, and it also talks about relationships that teach us things karmically, right? Because relationships are karmic teachers for us, right? And the 7th house teaches us that as well. That relationships are like, you know, karmic, I don't know, touchstones in life. Is that what I want to say? you know. These are those landmark moments in your life that don't necessarily feel that good because you were learning lessons of like insecurity and learning lessons of lack, right? You were learning lessons of like poor conditioning, yeah, right? That's what the Seven of Pentacles teaches us. But it's like, you know what the mistakes were that were made, you know, or the reasons why, okay, things are the way that they are, okay? This is like just not the time. It's just not the time because the climate of things won't allow it. You know, that's the restriction, the climate, you know, what the feeling that people have, the feeling of lack or the feeling of resources. It's like that type of thing. So people are like insecure in ways that are connected to money, finances, and resources. So they're behaving, they're acting differently, and they're, you know, that's what it is. So they're vulnerable to their own, you know, sensitivity to reality and how they struggle to survive in this new reality, that type of thing. The Two of Cups is here, which is also saying like, you know, just focus on, like I said, that spiritual aspect of you finding balance in yourself again, right? And it's also kind of like you understand what other people are going through as well. So that's what makes you keep your head on straight too with this Lord card, right? That makes you keep your head on straight because you know that everybody is on a spiritual journey here, you know, and you know it's not the same for everybody. Everybody's journey is different, so everybody feels different about what they, you know, what they have seen, okay? And everybody has seen something different, right? Even if it's like we're talking about the same thing, we could be interpreting the story differently, okay? And sometimes that makes you feel like no one understands you, right? It's like the sense of emotional isolation here, or just feeling like you're going about this new journey. You're at the beginning of a new journey of emotional healing, okay? And, you know, you're having to face some things. Face your fears, face your insecurities. You're having to talk to yourself about the things that, you know, make you uncomfortable, right? And make you feel like if you don't have these things, then your life is like, you know, over. And that's not true. Not at all. It's just beginning. But the Two of Cups is talking about, you know, emotional balance, right? And what it is, how we take our power back in terms of achieving emotional balance. You know, it's emotional awareness too, because it's kind of like a very clairvoyant card with the Two of Cups. Like I said, you understand what other people are going through and what they're feeling. So that's why you can be, you know, empathic. Some of you are an empath, and that's what helps you cope with it, even though being an empath means that you're feeling everything from everyone, but you understand how other people are going through some difficulties and struggles as well. So you're able to kind of like, you know, form a compassionate understanding for what they may not know already or yet that you already know about their journey. Because you know what I said? I say Libras are kind of like mind readers, but then it's like the 7th house, the Chariot is the 7th card. That's also kind of like a sense of like empath, intuitiveness, right? And then the Justice card is like with the scale. So the scale is like picking up on things, you know, it's like, what are those tentacles, kind of. So very sensitive, right? Very sensitive. So you're just picking up on other people's insecurities and how they're emotionally imbalanced, and that's cool. Just let it, you know, deal with yourself in the ways that you have to deal with you first, right? Hello. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment on the video. Follow me on Instagram. It's Providence Tarot. My personal account is NYC Kendrick. And if you would like to get a personal reading with me, DM me there, or you can email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Yes, we're getting back balanced in our energy. Recharge. Okay?